I have been like group training and personal training for about the last 4.5, 5 years. And I work at Burn Boot Camp. I used to be the lead in South Jordan, and now I'm up in Layton. But Lorraine and I know each other. I also work at Foundation Physical Therapy, so I'm their like PR manager. So I do a lot of their like socials and stuff. That's how Lorraine and I got kind of connected. But I've also, I don't know about you guys, and I love the group atmosphere as like a trainer. It's one of my favorite ways to train. I started off doing more one-on-one personal training. That's kind of why Lorraine and I talked to us a lot about like what makes group training different than one-on-one training, and what makes one-on-one training fun versus like boring for both your like client and for yourself. And then just having like tons of energy. So kind of my preface and kind of my own philosophy, and Lorraine and I've kind of shared this, is personal training in a group setting becomes almost like a combination of a few things. One is like your passion for fitness, which you all have by being in this profession. And I know Larry like only hires the best like personal trainers who are really knowledgeable. So like that's never a worry, right? Or never like something to, there's always like room for improvement. But the second thing is being like an entertainer. I know it's like the most uncomfortable part of being a personal trainer, because you're like, man, I know what I'm talking about. I want to push people, but people come to work out and stick with it because it's fun. And a lot of that comes from like us as trainers. And that's one of my biggest passions, is like I want people to get their like ass handed to them and also enjoy it at the same time. Like leave being like, man, I didn't know I could have so much fun dying today. And then wanting to tell their friends, like that's how these things grow, and that's how like energy comes out of it. So I kind of just want to know, like from your perspective, like what is like your favorite thing about training in a group setting, and what's like the hardest thing about training in a group setting? I'll jump at it.
For me, it's honestly both the same thing, like the high energy and then the high energy. Because like I love that. But right when I got hired, I actually just got pregnant, and
congrats.
Thank you. It was extremely physically hard for me. So there was days in here I was like, I want to throw up on this floor. Yeah. And I knew that I, could not, had to, so it's been a really big learning curve for me. But as like a student of the group training classes, like I love when coaches are high energy and do help push me and are fun and dance and do all that kind of stuff. But that's been like the best part, but the hardest part for me to learn as a coach.
Cool. That kind of just help. This is just gonna help me like, I don't know, kind of talk through and like practice with you guys too about what it is that you like, what you like about it, what is hard for you, so we can collaborate as like trainers in the same community of people. What is your favorite and hardest thing?
Favorite thing is the energy. Like I love the energy that the clients bring, because it's just like different. Like people who like to group train or like train in a group setting are just more extroverted in general. Yeah. So I love that the energy that they bring. I think the hardest thing is like feeling repetitive and like doing or like the same things that I say. It's just like I don't want to keep on saying the same thing over and over again. So sometimes I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah, that's finding
fair.
things to say that are not like, I don't know, the same cues. Engage your lats, brace your core, like especially with people who need that kind of cueing.
Yeah.
And they should be in personal training, but like they're here in group training, so you're just like, well, okay, so it's a good place.
My favorite thing, I'm like relatively a social butterfly when it comes to the group training, and so I like to talk a lot, and so I get kind of lost in the weeds of like talking to people and getting to know them, and what their life's like outside of the gym and stuff, and so I enjoy that part of it. And like as the class is going, as the training session's going, like getting to know kind of their strengths and weaknesses within the gym, and like I don't know, just getting to know them on a deeper level. That's kind of my jam, and that's what I really enjoy. But my difficult part is making it, like trying to overcome the mental barrier of feeling like I'm a cheerleader. I'm much more prone to like one-on-one stuff, and so leaping that hurdle of like motivating the mass rather than just the sole person is tough for me.
I feel like a mix of all of them. Every time someone said something, I was like, oh, maybe that one. Favorite part is definitely seeing people improve, helping them to improve. like seeing like, especially when it's like it's not often, but like a one cue can change the whole way they move on a certain lift, and then I can tell they enjoy it more because it doesn't hurt, or they can move more weight because they're doing it correctly. And I think the hardest part is also not feeling like a cheerleader sometimes, like finding the balance of letting them ride their own energy and not being repetitive, but still being there enough that like I'm still a coach motivating them and helping them. So like finding the line of too much and too little. That's my line.
I mean, I'll share mine too. My favorite thing about group training specifically is watching people do things that they've never done, or like people doing something that they didn't think that they could do, whether it was a bigger weight or doing like a box jump for the first time or doing a higher box jump for the first time. Like that to me, I'm like, if I can let one person in every session that I train do something that they walked in here thinking they couldn't do, like that's a success for me. My hardest thing, I think, is making sure that everyone gets personal attention, right? So that's the struggle between like group training and feeling like a group fitness instructor versus like feeling like a personal trainer, and balancing that line. So I think the biggest thing I kind of want to like practice with you guys too is just like how do we do it, right? How do we group train and personally train and get to know people and not cheerlead and not sound repetitive? So my biggest things I like to focus on when I'm training, because you guys all use a mic, yes? What is our relationship with the mic? Do we love it? Do we hate it? You hate it. Why do you hate it?
I don't know. I just like I'm more introverted naturally, and so it's just like for me, I'd rather go up to someone and like talk to them personally, like cue them that way instead of like blasting everyone with my person.
Yeah.
I do it, but it's not my favorite thing.
Okay.
So
What do you think?
I'm not a fan either. I'm more. It feels like it disconnects me from them, and so I struggle with that because I feel like I have to say something general enough that it applies to everybody,
Yeah.
rather than something that can be specific to the person I'm trying to help in that moment.
Yeah. Love it, hate it.
Hate it as well. I physically is very comfortable in my head, and it leaves a dent in my hair after, and I feel like it disconnects me, but in a different way. Like, because I can yell and have everyone hear me, but like the disconnect of it going to a mic and coming down, like when I hear myself, and when I'm doing it, I just feel like just this voice from above that's telling me to work versus a coach in the middle of the room telling me to work, and the difference between those two.
I think that's fair, and I think knowing what your relationship is with that mic is going to help you know why or how it's useful. I will tell you, I hated the mic when I started. So I started as an F45 trainer. I was like, I want to just run around and like be everywhere at once with everyone. Like I want to be like here and be like, I'm training you. But then I would be like, man, I can't be over there also, right? Like I can yell to you, but if I'm going to train more than, I don't know, 4 sessions a week, I'm going to kill myself. Like I'm going to not have a voice. I've done it before. And so then I'm like sprinting, and that's physically exhausting. So I decided to love the mic. Sorry, I'm like getting up in your space. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm a personal space person, but I think of the mic as like my duplicator as myself. So if I'm like over here, yeah, I can yell over the music. Hi, how are you? Okay, how are you? But I can also be like, hey, if I've got my mic on, the music's blasting. Music is gonna create energy for me. 2, I'm gonna be like, hey, Larry, is that squat a little low enough, or do you think you can sit back in your heels? Larry's like, oh, Lauren's got her eyes on me no matter where she is. I can be over here, I'm in a wall sit, and I'm like, hey, Brandon, you wanna come join me? And then you're like, sprint over, or whatever the format is. Or like, hey, is your core braced? Is that weight challenging enough? Like, I can use my own like voice to be next to you, even if I can't be next to you. Or if I'm gonna spot someone doing a squat, or spot someone doing a bench, or spot someone doing a row, I can say, hey, if you're over there on those bicep curls, I want you to give me 3 more reps. We've only got 10 seconds left. Once you finish your reps, you're gonna hold. You're gonna hold for 10 seconds, and until my count is up, you're not done. I'm over at your rig, and I'm over coaching someone, but I've got 3 people on bicep curls that can't quit because they know that I'm watching them. So then I've taken my training from one person to push it to the edge and get 3 other people to like a 10 out of 10 on their bicep curls that maybe would have done 2 more reps and been like, oh, that was cool. Do you see like the difference of it? So the way I whenever I've trained trainers or talked to trainers about it is I talk about cues. every like 3 minutes, you should have at least 3 cues. It's a group cue, so to a group of people doing the same exercise, an individual cue, so calling someone out by name, whether that's me right next to you and I've taken the mic down, because I'm not gonna come up to Dana or Dana, okay, and be like, Dana, is your core braced? And we're right here, it's awkward. Not everyone needs to know that. But if Dana's over there and I'm here with Chrissy, I can say, hey Dana, is your core braced? And then she's like, oh, okay, and I'm hanging out. I don't really have to do much. My presence is gonna get Chrissy to work harder or to be on better form or to be more aware of where she is just by me being like, you ready to work with me today? You're gonna be like, shit, yeah, I am. That's kind of my relationship, and my last cue is gonna be a class cue. So everyone, hey, we've got 10 seconds left. So within that time, that's gonna help get rid of that repetitiveness. Is like, have I called someone out individually? Have I called out a group together? Can I train a group together? And then have I called out the class? Hey, if you're passing someone, like, go give them a high five. Go, you know their name. If you don't, you better introduce yourself. Brandon, do you know Ryan? Do you guys know each other? This is great. I'm so glad you guys are here together. First time. Give each other a high five. Then I've created community too. Does that make sense? Do you guys have questions about it?
You're saying 3 cues every 3 minutes, so a cue-ish.
Yeah, and I mean, I usually don't let there be silence for longer than 10 seconds. I'm obnoxious.
I was being generous with 30 seconds.
I'm obnoxious, and when I train people, I say there should not be dead air. Because I know that me talking and me creating energy with my voice and my body is going to create energy in the room. My biggest thing is I train mostly mornings, like early mornings, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-ish. No matter what time they're coming to me, I'm their alarm clock. So I don't care if I've slept 1 hour, 4 hours, if my son's kept me up all night, the dog's puked in the middle of the night on top of me. I'm there. They don't care. To be completely honest, like my members, I'm in a room of 30, they don't care what my night looked like. I mean, they kind of maybe do. But if I'm low energy, their workout's gonna suck. If I'm like, hey, we ready to work today? My body is big, my voice is big, my face is animated. They're like, shit, I'm ready to work. So those people that maybe aren't extroverted are gonna feel like, man, I'm here to get something done. Is that fair? Do you guys have any, like, you guys can always give me, like, that doesn't work for me. I'm happy to, like, communicate or talk about it, but do you have any questions or comments or?
Well, questions about follow-up question to your like mic. 10 seconds, like that is like saying something over the mic so everybody can hear.
Typically.
Because to me, it like just kind of seems like that is just so incredible. Because like even cueing an individual person on like, okay, like even pull your heels in, like, you know, make sure your heels are close for your glute thrusts, more range of motion, blah, like whatever. That takes way more than 10 seconds, you know what I mean? So I just kind of feel like,
Yeah, then give it a break. Find someone new. We also do something that I like to call like sit and swivel. So I don't want to exhaust myself, right? Like I could sprint everywhere all the time and physically exhaust myself. It will exhaust me. Training feels like a workout. If I'm not sweating by the end, I feel like I haven't done the job of giving my energy. Like I want to feel like I've given everything I can to people. But on that second end of things, like I want to reserve as much of my energy for the people that I have. So I'm gonna sit with someone for their whole set. And if I've just gotten to them on their last reps, I'm gonna follow them to wherever they're going next, and I'm gonna sit with them for their whole set. While I'm with someone though, they don't need me to sit there and stare at them. I might just need to put my hand like right in their lap, be like, hey, I want you to squeeze right between those rhomboids. I want you to squeeze those shoulder blades every rep. And then I'm gonna be here. If she pauses, I'm gonna be like, Dana, you okay? Does that feel okay? You're gonna say, oh, my back's hurting. Okay, we're gonna go down a weight. But while I'm here, she knows that she's gonna stop. If she stops, I'm gonna ask her a follow-up question, right? But I'm physically here, but I can be watching everyone in the room from a swivel. So if I'm here, there's not someone that can take a break without me knowing why. Is that fair? So my eyes are like on the back of my head. That way that people are in a group training session, because if they could do it by themselves, if they could get a workout on a whiteboard by themselves, they would download one of the 17,000 apps that are on Instagram or on the App Store. Playbook, you've seen them all. They could go to Instagram, go to Vasa and get the same workout. Is that fair also? Like you guys all do it, but you're motivated personally. Like you've got intrinsic motivation that 98% of the population doesn't have. And I think that that's
I'm
important to
2%.
know.
Just so you know.
But I mean,
certain
I'm not self-motivated. I don't work out at Vasa because I can't. I love the group atmosphere because I want someone to tell me that I've half-assed a workout. If someone's like, Lauren, go to Vasa with the same workout plan, I will walk around half of the time. I'll go on Instagram, I'll go on TikTok. But if I'm here for an hour, because my hour is worth my time, I want someone to make sure that I leave here having given 10 out of 10% of 10 out of 10 of what I've got. If I walk in with a 3, I want them to make sure that I've given 3 of the 3 out of 10 that I've got with me that day. And I think that that's our responsibility as a trainer. Is that you guys are all staring at me, and I just I want your feedback. What like hesitations do you have? Because we're gonna do some practice, but I want to know like what your feedback is.
I think for me, knowing when to push somebody, and like, because if they have a 10 to give, great, and I can help push them through that, or someone who's just like, hey, I'm just here today. You know, it's kind of like reading them, reading their energy as well, and knowing when I can push. Because like here with the strength days, it's like we want them taking rest and that kind of stuff in between sets. So reading that even is like, okay, they're just being lazy, not picking it up, or you know. So just reading, I think, their energy and when I should and can't push it for them.
That's fair.
Well, I think I've had like since being here like a few negative experiences with people where it's like I go to like, you know, jokingly give them more weight or like tell them to push harder and they like snap at me.
What
And
do I
I'm
say?
just like they're just like, no, I don't want to do that because of X, Y, Z. Like Lindsay this morning was just like, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. And I was like, all right. So I just like stopped, like gave her space. It's like maybe she's had a bad night. I don't know. But like I've had that with like probably like 5 people, and it's just so I feel like a little bit more tentative to give them like push. Like there's people you know you can push, but some people, I don't know. So what would you say as far as like,
Was she being sarcastic?
huh?
Lindsay, was she being sarcastic?
Like she was like kind of snappy this morning.
Can we
And-
practice it? Can you be snappy to me like I was like be snappy to me like she was to you?
Okay.
Okay. So what was the exercise?
I think I can't remember. It's happened like 3 times. There was glute thrusts. So
Okay.
she was doing glute thrusts, and I was like, hey, that was really easy. Or
Yeah. I want you to do like glute bridges, pretend you've got like a weight on your hips, and fly like you're like cruising, like it's like. Hey, how's this feel today?
it feels good.
I need more weight.
No. Okay.
Okay. Because you feel like you're getting enough from the body.
Yeah. Feel great.
Okay, let's pause and top. Ready? Hold. 10. 9. You're gonna stay here. Okay? It's gonna feel okay?
Yeah.
Challenging?
Yeah.
Too hard?
No.
Because you're strong. You got it. Ready? I'm gonna add just a little bit of pressure. Okay. We've got 5 more seconds. Are you ready? Hold, hold, hold. Squeeze. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, you did a little bit more today. Proud of yourself? Ready? Let's go to the next section. Okay. So I'm going to get creative, but I wanna feedback with her because I want her to be like, no, I don't want more weight. Well, why? And she's like, I just don't want it. Cool. Can you hold? There's more. Sorry, you can sit down. So I usually am like, there's a few ways to push someone. There's more weight. And then there's rep manipulations. So rep manipulations, it's a pause, it's a hold, it's a pulse, it's a half rep, and I usually will incorporate those if someone's like, I really am, maybe she's like really scared of going heavier in weight because they've had a previous injury that I don't know about, right? Someone hurt their back, I don't know that. They ripped open their shin on a box jump, they're like, there's no way in hell I'm getting on that box today. You can't ever convince me to hop on a box. All right, well, can I get you to do like a step up faster? Can I have you do a squat jump first? Can I have you do a squat hold first? Like, it's now my job to get creative to get you to an RPE of 10. If I'm like, if she kept saying, no, like I really don't want it, I'd be like, hey, I just want you to know I'm proud of you for showing up. I just want you to get the best out of your workout today. That's my job. And if that's too much for you today, I'm here for you. You're doing amazing. And I'm gonna leave that interaction, like letting that person know that I'm in their corner. Like I don't want anyone to leave thinking like I'm pushing them for the hell of it. Because why are we pushing people? Because we want them to get a good workout, because we want them to see results? Or I think that comes from like, do we have a pride in our results? Someone told me once, one of my mentors told me as a trainer that my resume is the amount of people I've gotten results from. So if I couldn't print out a book of people that have a testimony of me personally giving them a result, whether that's a gain in strength, a gain in confidence, a gain in community, a gain in a challenge, a body composition change, if they cannot write me a review with an honest one of those as a change, I am not doing my job. And so I leave every single class saying, have I given someone that change? Or have I gotten them closer to that change? And if I've gotten a pushback, What change do they want to see? Do I know? Like, do I know what Chrissy wants? Is it that she wants community? Because then it's not super important that she gets to a 10 out of 10. I mean, it is, but she just really wants to hang out with her friends. Like, she really comes here to get away from her kids, hang out with her friends, and then get on with the rest of her day. That's also fine, but I just have to know that about her. And if I don't, I should, especially when you've got rest. Is that fair? I think it's just where it comes to, like, as a trainer, what pride do you have in getting those people that results? What questions do we have before we practice? Hi, I'm Lauren.
Hi, sorry.
You're good.
Danielle.
Danielle, I'm happy you're here. Any questions? Does that help that at all?
Yeah.
Yes and no?
I mean, it just takes practice, right? Like getting people like pushing back at you, and like doing it in a way that's like not like rude or like too pushy. Like I didn't feel like you were being too pushy, but like very like upbeat. So
I think it's, yeah.
I don't take anything from what you're saying. Like even yesterday, I had that same thing where like people were just like they weren't snappy to me, but they were just unresponsive to what I was saying. And I found with people that like Rory, for example, if I could pushing her because she's very open to it, I saw people watching her move up, and they would check themselves, can I move up? So even if it's not the trainer doing it, other people near them, even on the same station, if like there's no people you know you can push, like Nancy's a big morning one too, like I'll push her, and I can see people next to her be like, oh, she's moving up, can I move up? So it's like an indirect motivation. Because I was having that same problem with the afternoon class. I could get like 2 people to ever change, and I was like, all right, pick the ones I can that I can challenge, and I saw them kind of challenge each other based on their community pieces. So.
I love that. And I think that's the beauty of group training, right? Is that, like, if I'm pushing someone next to them, they're going to be like, shit, I'm going to work hard too because I'm going to get called out next. If they see me slacking, like, they might call me out. And maybe you won't because you see them pick up. I would also praise that. Like, your mic doesn't have to be. I got in the habit for a while that anytime I'd say someone's name, they're like, what am I doing wrong? And I was like, aw, I don't want you to think that you just suck. Like, I don't really want you to think that. So if I saw someone go up, I'd be like, yeah, I saw you pick up that big weight. And it's awkward, right? Like, I'm talking to people like I wouldn't go up to you and be like, yeah, bigger weight. But if I do that from across the room, you might be like, she noticed me. Like, these people think you're cool. That's why they're here. Like, one of my mentors was like, we're all females at where I work, so I'm so sorry. She's like, you're the Regina George of where you work. Like, if you cut out like little booby holes in your shirt, they're gonna want to do the same thing. Like, whatever you tell them to do, if you're telling them to do something, if you create that rapport, they're gonna want to do the same thing. Even if you're younger than them, even if you don't live the same lifestyle as them, like, they still come here because they look up to you and your expertise. So if you deliver it with confidence and energy, they'll want to do it for you. And I think it's creating that energy of like, I want people to do what I say, not because I want to be like, I don't want it as an ego, but I want people to trust me because I want them to get results. Is that fair? Like, is that a fair perspective? Can we practice? Okay, I want to know, I've been to one class, and I know that our like setup that I do like at Burn is just different. So who would be willing to like show me what like the start of a class and a demo looks like? Larry, you want to show me?